Brant, the topic I really want to get into tonight with you is the Lions at the trade deadline. And so the Lions did trade a 6th-round pick for Donovan Peoples-Jones. Go Blue, welcome home, DPJ. Excited to have you. I mean, I think everybody would agree the Lions could definitely bolster some depth there with the wide receiver room. So I don't think anybody can complain about that move. Definitely didn't ring the alarm or get people super excited. The trade deadline came and went, Brant. 4 p.m. hit on Tuesday, and no splashy moves from Brad Holmes and the Detroit Lions. So, I listened to Dan Campbell this week, and, he said Brad does not leave any stones unturned. Some of these guys that you saw traded or their names mentioned, they did, not only were they seeing what the market was, but they also did their own film review of them to see if these are the kind of guys that they want to bring in. And Brant, at the end of the day, they chose not to, or maybe the price wasn't right, combination of of both of those things, but they didn't make a move. And so I want to know your thoughts on that, because I think that Lions fans kind of are sitting on two different sides here. You've got one side of the aisle that says, look, it's now or never. And I don't mean never like this team is built to last, even as it's currently constructed. But you're sitting at 6-2 in a very winnable NFL this year. I mean, across the league, NFC, AFC, like, sure, you got your top tier teams, but the Lions are in that conversation. They don't make a move to kind of put them over the edge, while you're seeing like the Eagles and the 49ers make these moves. I mean, these are the teams you're competing against for the top of the NFC. Brant, I think the other side of it is, well, look, Brad Holmes continued to trust in him. He's built this thing the right way. You don't want to trade future draft capital if you don't have to, because the guy drafts really well. So I mean, that's a fair argument too. End of the day, they don't make a move, and I think some of those people that are on the side of this that said like, look, just be patient. You don't have to go all in right now. I think that there's a little bit of a almost, to use your analogy, Brand, of like last spring when we talked about this team of like, look, you got to crawl before you walk, like that type of crowd that's like bought into the Lions, believe that they could do it, but maybe they're just not quite there yet to make some huge move to go win a Super Bowl. Brad, I want to know your thoughts on the trade deadline and how this shook out. Do you feel like Brad Holmes got it right? Do you feel like he missed the boat this year?
I hate to do this, Dave, but I feel like we're going to find out. And there are examples in the NFL, if you look around, of teams that do go all in all the time. The Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers, they feel like, hey, we don't have a good enough running back. Let's go get DeAndre Swift. Let's go get Christian McCaffrey. Let's go add Chase Young. Obviously, the Niners did at the trade deadline. You look at teams like that, and they have a specific pattern about them. Look at a team like the Dallas Cowboys. That's the other side of the fence. Whenever do you hardly see Jerry make a splash deadline trade? He doesn't, because he believes that he drafted the best and that those are the guys in his locker room that he's sticking with. And I can tell you more often than not that the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers are more often in it than the Dallas Cowboys are. And sticking with your guys is great, and I get that that can be great for the locker room. I didn't love it. I don't love it when you have a team like this that's rolling in the right direction and that you could add one or two pieces and kind of put yourself into, now there's no question depth-wise probably that we're going to be right there in the end. And not only does Chase Young not belong to the Lions, he belongs to another top contender in the NFC that could definitely come back and bite you in the butt. So it's really tough to watch that one go down specifically. And Dave, this is the most mind-blowing part about this whole thing is Brad is known as kind of a wheeling dealer. He wants to get out there, have his fingerprints all over everything. It was surprising for me to see him not kind of go into the all-in mode this year. This is the kind of GM I thought we had. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying I'm surprised by it.
Yeah, I was super disappointed, Brant. I'm going to kind of agree with you here. I wasn't exactly sure where you stood on this. We haven't talked about it. Um, I think the Lions missed the mark here. Now, look, there's a reason why Brad Holmes is the GM of an NFL team and I am not. So I recognize that. However, this is a year, could be the year that you win this thing. Like I said, it's a winnable NFL, it's a winnable NFC. It is. The Niners have flaws, the Eagles have flaws. What did those two teams do? They both went out and addressed some of those flaws. The Niners addressed the D end to get Bosa some help there, give up a third round pick to get Chase Young, who we heard for quite some time was going to be gettable. The Eagles go out and bolster that their DBs by bringing in a top tier safety, which has been a weakness of theirs all year. And so, yeah, you're watching really the two top teams in the NFC go in and make these moves to go and make a run at a Super Bowl. The Lions did not. And look, I think it's almost more frustrating when I saw just what these players went for. Like when I see Chase Young went for a future third round pick. Okay, the Lions have 2 third round picks this year. Give up one of those. I'll take my chance on Chase Young, regardless of how people feel of, is he tuned in all the time? Does he take plays off? Guess what? When Chase Young is not taking a play off, that dude is disruptive, and he still is deep down that generational talent out of Ohio State that we once thought he was. Now he has had some injuries. He has had some just questionable work ethic type of stuff. So sure, if he wasn't your guy, I get it. But Brant, another guy, Montez Sweat from the Commanders too. The Bears, out of all teams, go out and get him for a second round pick. I don't know why. The Bears are horrible. He could walk after this year. I still don't understand that move. Montez Sweat would have been phenomenal here in Detroit. You don't get either of them. Maybe you win after Montez Sweat. Maybe they knew the Bears pick was going to be higher, and maybe you offered the late second round pick. I don't know. But I know that right now, as we record this on November 1st, the Lions didn't add anybody. And so now you are faced with waiting for your guys to come back. You're banking on James Houston coming back this year and being that guy. Brant, Aiden Hutchinson clearly needs help. He is good. He's great. He's on the verge of being great, right? He needs help, though. He does. And it's disappointing to me that they didn't go out and address that in a season where I really feel like they could make this move and take this next leap. So I didn't love this. Excuse me one second. I felt like the Lions it's almost like we don't know what to do with this. Like we haven't been in this position where we're sitting 6-2 and it's not some flawed 6-2. Like you're a legit 6-2. So bringing in a guy that could put you over the edge, I felt like this was the year to do it. I hope they don't regret this, but I was super disappointed, especially when I see the Eagles and the Niners go out and make these moves that were, I guess, splashy, but not really. It's not like they gave up a ton. I mean, this is what top organizations do. So, look, I'll continue to trust in Brad Holmes. He's earned it. He's drafted incredibly well. But I think we missed the mark this time around, and I think we'll regret it. And I think what I would say to Lions fans that are like, look, don't push all your chips in yet this year. This is for the long haul. We want to be built for years to come. Brant, trading a third round pick or a second round pick ain't going to ruin that. And also, if I have to hear any more about the locker room guys or like being a perfect fit for the culture, you know what, dude? Good culture, that already exists in that locker room. Like, I feel confident saying that. And when the culture's that good, bringing in one guy that maybe has a question mark on him, he should fall in line. Brant, you saw it for years with the Patriots bringing in guys. When they brought in Randy Moss, right? Like, these kind of guys that have these question marks around their character or this or that. Like, look, if the culture is as strong as we think it is, as I think it is, you go out and get one of these guys and you let a Chase Young fall into place for a third round pick. Put him opposite side Hutch and see what happens. So I really felt like they missed the mark. I hope this is not the difference between them getting to the NFC Championship or losing in the divisional round. I think the division is to be had right now by the Lions. And so Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add on that, but I think we're kind of in agreement.
No, I know that they had 6 sacks Monday night, but it was a lot of late sacks, and it wasn't from their defensive line really. I mean, um, Alex Anzalone had two, Tracy Walker had one. Like they were mixing in the blitzes, and I totally get it. And that's how you have to get by. Don't sell this Raiders offensive line as any good. But to not have, I think they had one sack through the first 3 quarters, and then they really poured it on in the fourth because the Raiders had to throw the ball, and they knew they had to. So that was the difference in the ball game, really. But yeah, the defensive line, like they had 6 sacks and Hutch didn't get one, Dave. What does that tell you? That the edges aren't getting home, and that is an issue going forward for this team. So I completely agree with you.
Yeah, we'll see. Go into the bye week. I mean, it is what it is, man. You pack up your bags, move into the bye week. You got to move forward from this. This is a great team without any moves being made. I believe that. I just think that it could have put them over the edge. So I'm still all in on the Lions. I'm still all in on Brad Holmes, but definitely disappointed with how this trade deadline shook out.